I'm going to talk to you guys today about the Witch of Endor. A lot of us get tired of waiting on God to answer our prayers, right? So when we don't hear from Him, a lot of you guys go to tarot cards, you guys ask psychics, you guys go to mediums, but that is not very smart. What happened was, King Saul needed to talk to God, but the prophet Samuel died, and Samuel was the only way he could get connection from God, basically, or access the spirit realm. So instead, he went to go see this witch, the Witch of Endor, and she was able to lift Samuel from the dead. And shortly after, Samuel was like, "Why did you lift me up from the dead? You shouldn't have done this." And the next scripture, we see that Saul actually died. So there has to be a connection between talking to witches and doing divination and death. I'm going to show you guys the scripture next. King Saul said, "Find me a woman who is a medium, so I may go and inquire of her." They told him, "There's one in Endor," they said. So Saul disguised himself, putting on another clothes, and at night, and two men went to the woman, and he said to the woman, "Consult a spear for me." He said, "Bring up for me the one that I name." Watch what happens next, guys. King Saul said, "Find me a woman who is a medium, so I may go and inquire of her." They told him, "There's one in Endor," they said. So Saul disguised himself, putting on another clothes, and at night, and two men went to the woman, and he said to the woman, "Consult a spear for me." He said, "Bring up for me the one that I name." Watch what happens next, guys. The woman replied, "Who is it that I should bring up for you?" He said, "Bring up for me Samuel." When the woman saw Samuel, she cried out loudly. The woman said to Saul, "Why have you deceived me? You are Saul." The king said to her, "Don't be afraid, but what have you seen? The woman replied to Saul, "I have seen a divine being coming up from the ground." He said to her, "What about his appearance?" She said, "An old man is coming up. He is wrapped in a robe." So this is just letting you guys know, the Bible even says witches do have power, but it doesn't mean that you should talk to him, because it's very dangerous stuff, guys. The king Saul had to hide himself because he banned it in the land, but because he couldn't talk to God, he started talking to demons and witches. And if I showed you guys the next scriptures after, he shortly dies. So this is just a warning, guys, and I wanted you guys to know who the Witch of Endor was. You can do some more Google research on her if you want.